Our group will be discussing Newton's 3 laws of motion relative to our sport, soccer. The first law of motion is an object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will remain in motion with constant velocity unless acted upon by external force.
Newton's first law can be related in our daily lives in many ways. One of these ways is riding a scooter. As the scooter lays in uniform, I would pick it up and push my foot on the ground, acting as the external force. The unbalanced force would be a heel as gravity pulls itself down.
The second law of motion is the acceleration of an object that is directly proportional to the force acting on the object and indirectly proportional to the mass of the object, otherwise known as F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. A real-life scenario in Newton's second law is while shopping and pushing a shopping trolley. A trolley that has more items and mass will need more force to accelerate. But with a trolley with less items, it will take less force. The third law of motion is, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This statement means that in every interaction, there is a pair of forces acting on the two moving objects. The size of the forces on the first object is equal to the size of the force on the other object.
A real-life scenario in Newton's third law would be when swimming. When someone is swimming, they push the water backwards, which is the action, and the water pushes the person forwards, which is the reaction.
The first law of motion is shown in soccer by simply kicking a ball. As the ball remains on the ground in a state of uniform, a person kicks the ball with the foot acting as an external force, interrupting the balance of the ball, putting it into motion until another external force acts upon it. I will come up to the soccer ball and kick it out of its uniform position. This can be implemented in a soccer match when someone is taking a free kick. In the free kick, the ball is in a position until the player takes the free kick and kicks the ball with force.
Newton's second law of motion, F equals ma. This can be implemented in soccer in many ways. One such way is through attacking the player with the ball via shoulder to shoulder. Force will be applied from one person onto another by hitting each other with their shoulder. The given force will move the player, but it is dependent on how much mass the opposing player has. A higher amount of force given to a lower amount of mass would increase its acceleration to a certain amount.
Newton's third law of motion applies to soccer when the soccer ball is kicked and it hits the crossbar, and it'll rebound back. This happens in a soccer game mostly when someone is shooting towards goal. This shows Newton's third law, as for every action, there is an equal or opposite reaction. This happens here in the video when the ball hits the crossbar, it rebounds upwards, hits other crossbar, and rebounds downwards.
The balloon rocket practical that we had completed relates to Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We attach different types of balloons to a string and fill them with different amounts of breaths each time. Dependent on the amount of breaths that were given to the balloon was how far the balloon would go. Air would be released, which then makes the balloon move in the opposite direction.